Time now for some live Q&A. You guys know the drill by now. Use hashtag Cowboys or be like Jourdan and super chat to get on the show. Jourdan says he saw a rumor that Chidobe and Lewis could be traded. What are your thoughts on that, and what could the Cowboys get? I don't know if both will end up being traded, but I think there's a real possibility that one gets dealt. I don't think long-term they're factors in this Cowboys cornerback room. I think the overhaul will continue, and I'd guarantee at least one of them is not on the Cowboys roster in 2021. I just don't foresee that happening. So if the Cowboys can get a mid-ish round pick, and more importantly, if the young players develop, guys like Diggs and Robinson and maybe Worley shows out, maybe it starts to make a little bit more sense at that point. From Braylon Doral, who do you think is going to be the biggest impact from the draft? Even just from a playing time perspective, it's probably going to be CeeDee Lamb. Now, maybe Diggs later on becomes a full-time starter, but even if Lamb's the number 3 receiver, Cobb played something like 60, 70% of the snaps last year. Like, you're going to use a ton of 11, that's 1 tight end, 1 running back, aka 3 receiver personnel. That's what the Cowboys are going to do. So I'm going to go with your first round pick, as boring as that is. I think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. Speaking of the draft picks, which one was your favorite one by the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Lamb was my favorite pick because for the first time in forever, the Cowboys actually went the route I wanted them to go in round 1. They took CeeDee Lamb. So you guys go and throw your favorite picks in the comments section. And again, speaking of CeeDee Lamb, folks, there is autographed memorabilia available for purchase at chatsports.com/CD. That's mini helmets, full-size helmets, the photo that they tweeted out as well, also available, all to be autographed. They've got footballs too. It is all available at chatsports.com/CD. One more time, chatsports.com/CD, spelled like his name. It's not just the letter C and the letter D. It's CEEDEE. And do not worry, I'll make your life easier. I'll put that in the comments and the description as well. I am still, frankly, shook that so many of you are upset by CeeDee Lamb rocking the 88 jersey this year. It's fine, guys. Like, it's not a big deal. Dez is fine with it. The Cowboys are cool with it. Clearly, Lamb is always, he just would have said no. Like, y'all don't need to freak out so much, okay? Yusuf is next up here. Will the Cowboys sign Everson Griffen? Possible. I wonder if Seattle or the Browns might have first crack at landing Griffen instead, but I think it's worth monitoring. I think for Griffen, he's waiting for Clowney, and Clowney's waiting for a better offer on top of that. From our boy JG, where do you see our Cowboys defense in 2020? Man, if I can just get average defensive play, I'm going to be happy. That's my hope for this Cowboys team. I don't think they're going to be top 10 like I was hoping for last year when they severely regressed. I just want average defensive play. I think that would be more than enough for this Cowboys team, given what I expect this Cowboys offense to be able to do. Chances of a top 100 pick for Jones next year. I assume you mean Byron Jones and the comp pick, and there's a very good chance of that. The expectation is Dallas gets a third-round comp pick for losing Byron Jones. The formula is being tweaked this year, so we'll wait and see what happens, but that's my expectation, that they get a late round 3 pick, that comp pick for Byron Jones. I've got a request for you guys. If you think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, which is well over 1,000 of you guys right now, I want you to like this video. I think they have a really good chance for it. The draft has me backed up. I'm on the hype train again. I feel confident. They got some defensive issues, but that was a great draft and a needed draft as well. So if you agree with me and you think Dallas is going to make the playoffs, please like this video. Next up from Troy, what kind of role do you see Bradlee and Anae taking in his first year? I think step one for Anae is just to make the roster. He is a later round pick, a 5th round pick. Those guys aren't guaranteed anything. So he has to beat out the likes of Joe Jackson, of Dorrance Armstrong. We'll see about Randy Gregory and Alden Smith on top of that. I think he's a better player than Joe Jackson. He had a much higher grade from me than Jackson did, and Jackson didn't really do a whole lot this past year. And I know he's not a great athlete, but he was a really good player at Utah. Like, at a certain point in the draft, ignore the athleticism, take the wildly productive player. That's what Anae was. So I think year one, if he makes a team, you're hoping for a rotational piece along that front. Next up from Jay Cochran, what about Andy Dalton? He uses that hashtag Cowboys. Remember, folks, do that, or super chat. I am open to the idea. I'm not convinced that Dalton wants to come to Dallas just because he might have a better chance at more playing time and more money elsewhere. But if he's down and signs cheap, I'm all for it. From EV Games, Diggs starting this year. We'll see. I mean, he does have to beat out a couple of players. Daryl Worley potentially among them. Chidobe Awuzie, Anthony Brown, Jourdan Lewis. So there is a path to starting playing time for Diggs, but that's going to be determined in camp. When the Cowboys took him, they were hoping he would be a starter in year one, but I don't think they've guaranteed him anything on that front. From Mr. F. Cancer, I kind of like that name. With Lamb on the team, doesn't that make the Dallas offense more dynamic because the receivers can play any spot? Yeah, look, CeeDee Lamb, I think you'll see him plenty in the slot. He'll probably rotate with Amari Cooper in terms of his role, and then Cooper will rotate with Gallup, and you'll see Gallup in the slot too. So Dak has said before he's kind of preferred having his receivers lined up in one spot, but they kind of got away from that this past year, and it still didn't impact Dak. So I think with his development, he's grown to be able to handle that a little bit better. I think it does make the offense more dynamic because if you're an NFL defense, who do you cover? Who do you try to double? Is it Cooper, who has been the receiver one, Gallup coming off a great year, or a top 10 player in the draft in CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, makes it pretty darn tricky. Akil, do you think CeeDee is upset with Jerry by making him wear 88? He should have just let him wear 10, and does this mean no Dez confirmed? On Dez, guys, the minute they took CeeDee Lamb, we talked about it on Monday, it was pretty clear, or was it Tuesday? Whatever day it was pretty clear that Dez probably wasn't going to come back. As for the 88 stuff, y'all are reading so much into this. I don't think Lamb is upset by it because there's no evidence to suggest that he is. None whatsoever. It's a jersey number. It's not like they're making CeeDee Lamb switch positions. I think everyone has to take a gigantic chill pill and relax here because everyone's making a mountain out of a molehill for something that doesn't really matter in the long run. It's fine. Everyone stop freaking out. I beg of you. And, of course, we got this one as well. Do you want Dez back? Type X for yes, throw up that X, or N for no. For those of you that have wanted Dez Bryant, I've said this for a long time as your votes come in. Let's check in after the draft. If they invest in receiver, probably doesn't make that much sense. Guess what happened? They took a first-round receiver, which was the right move. So, Dez fans, I know a lot of you miss him. Probably time to stop getting those hopes up if you had them up at all. From Randy Leahy, or Leahy, probably Leahy there, actually. How do you like Gallimore? Potential starter by the end of the year. I'm a big Neville Gallimore fan. Now, he's still a little bit raw, but fantastic. You don't find 300-pound dudes who run a sub 4.8. Like, that is freaky athleticism out of a man that size. I like Neville Gallimore quite a bit. He was a top 40 player for me in this year's draft. I loved getting him in round 3. Now, with the way the roster is constructed, with Gerald McCoy playing that 3 technique role, Dontari Poe slot again as that 1 technique, that nose guard, I think Gallimore is going to be best as a 3 technique. So he probably doesn't surpass Gerald McCoy in year 1, but you're going to rotate your defensive linemen. So my expectation and goal for him in year 1 is to be a key part of that rotation. Hopefully, your number 3 defense lineman, if you want to go to sub packages, why not Gallimore and McCoy on an obvious passing downs? That's the route I would go. Jordan Thomas, what's the latest Dak can sign his tender? The tender signing doesn't really matter all that much, but in terms of extension, which I think is more important, Jordan, you have July 15th. It's not a tender, it's a franchise tag, which I guess is a differentiation there. But to get a long-term deal done, that has to happen by July 15th. If it doesn't, Dak has to play on the franchise tag next year. That's a bad idea for the Cowboys. It's going to cost them more money in the long run. Jordan Thomas, again with a super chat. Jordan, you're the MVP so far of today's show. He says Jordan Elliott is still on the board. They've taken him over Gallimore. I did not have Elliott above Gallimore on my board. I had Neville as the better prospect and the better player. Elliott does have some upside too. I liked him as well, but I thought Gallimore was the correct pick by the Dallas Cowboys in round 3 for what they want to do and for the upside he brings. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.